Howdy folks, today I'm going to explain how to install our push-pull cable steering on the Animal, the Beast, and any of our other twin cats that come with our push-pull cable steering. And if you buy some other cat that has push-pull cable steering, we're going to show you some techniques on how to do this right. So you see here I've got the cables, the rudder assembly itself, and the servo horn. I'm going to show you how to install it with both the stock servo horn like this, as well as the carbon fiber. First thing you want to do is get your cables out. And you want to check the orientation that they're wound. The cable is wound in spiral configuration. And you're going to be learning which way it winds, just like you are on the flex shafts. Okay, now you see how the cable is wound like this? You want to make sure that the direction you're twisting it is the direction that makes it tighten. Okay, notice as I twist on this, the cable tightens up a little bit. So when you're feeding it through the hole, when you're feeding it first in through the hole, you're going to be twisting the cable as you go in. You're going to be slowly twisting it. You're going to be twisting it with its winding so that it doesn't unravel as you're putting it in through the hole. Okay, so to understand how this works, the cable feeds in through this ram here. And there's actually a hole in this fitting here. So when you're feeding it through, a lot of times it's lined up. But if it's not lined up, what you're going to do is with your fingers, turn just this pin and slightly push it on the cable till you feel it go through the first hole, the hole that's going to be in this pin. Then, if you look inside here, it's hard to see. There's a little hole in there. That hole in there. That's where the cable feeds in to the boat. You're going to be feeding it through here, through this pin, and then right when it mates up to that hole deep inside there that you can barely see, that's when you're going to twist. Gently twist. Twist. Remember, you're going to twist in a way that's tightening. You're going to gently twist until you feel it go through. Okay, watch as I do this. Again, I'm reassuring that the direction I'm twisting is a direction that tightens the cable. Okay, good. This one went through. And I'm twisting gently. You can kind of hear it clicking a little bit. Okay, this one was a little stubborn. So I'm taking my 1.5 millimeter wrench driver and going straight through into here. Finding the hole and twisting a little bit on the wrench. Just gently pushing in a little bit and slightly twisting on the wrench just to help that opening a little bit. Now that I open it a little bit, feeding the cable right in. And you'll see it start to come in to the boat. Just make sure it doesn't go up against anything. Put it into about right there, and then do the other side. Okay, now you've got it done on both sides. Let's work on the rudder. Okay, now this rudder assembly is pretty straightforward. You're going to use your 1.5 millimeter, and there's a set screw in here. It holds the anchor pin. Loosen that set screw. Slide the pin out. You're gonna put the rudder on like this, and you want to have it turned at an angle so that you can access that pin. Access the set screw. There's a flat spot on the pin. You want that to align with the set screw. It's going to automatically align as long as you have the pin at the right depth to where it goes in flush. It's a little difficult to work it while I'm behind the camera, but there it is. Again, I'm making sure that flat spot is oriented right there. Little wiggling. Then with my 1.5, I'm going to tighten that set screw. Not gorilla tight, but fairly tight. You don't want that pin coming out. Next, we've got the ends and their bolts and their hardware. So, without further ado, I screw the ends on. But when I screw these on, I go all the way in, then come back out about 2 to 3 turns, so that I have some adjustability to tighten it in case the cables are a little bit sloppy when I assemble things. And repeat that on both sides. Then you align the ball joints in here. Slide your hardware through. Tighten the nut on the bottom. Repeat that both sides. Okay, now you have the rudder and the cables installed, and things should look like this. What you want to do is straighten the rudder out. Now before you start dealing with the servo, first you want to turn the radio on and turn your system on. Make sure the trim is at neutral for the steering, and center the servo. Just turn it on, zoop, and the servo will center. So with the traditional stock servo horn, you've got these 2 pivots, and these pivots have holes in them. And there's an anchor bolt right there. What you're gonna do, I'm doing this one-handed, is you're gonna thread these cables through here, because they'll just slide right on. You're gonna put your servo horn on like this, and get your cables centered like that on there. Okay, now that everything's fed through, you're gonna take and hold this cable where it is. Make sure the cable doesn't slide. Gently remove this. Then you flip it over, and one side at a time, tighten the anchor bolts. It's done. You just insert the bolt in here, and you're on. Now, the steering EPA on the radio, you want that at about 65% both directions, because if you pull too hard, you'll pull too hard on these cables. But a little bit of experimentation will work with that, but 65% is the safe number. Go with our upgraded steering boots. You simply slide them on prior and anchor them to this pedestal here and put a zip tie around them on both sides, and you've got our boots. Now with our carbon fiber horn, things are similar but slightly different. You want to one side at a time thread the cable in here. Now once the cable's through, you'll see it in there like this. You want to come from the outside and push it through. Push it out so it can come out. When I pushed it out, it can slide on there better. Repeat with the other side. I use my 1.5 driver again. Okay, now that you've secured your horn in place, you check cable tension, and these look okay. Then you check rudder straightness. This moved a little bit. Make sure the rudder's straight. A 2mm driver, I removed the tip from the 1.5mm driver. I have just the tip of it, which is a lot shorter, and I can get in here and work with it. Then install the provided anchor screws. Come in here gently and carefully. Line this up. Set that one there. There's 4 anchor screws, 2 on each side. Put those all in. Make sure everything's straightened up, and then tighten things down. Not gorilla tight, because it'll deform the cable too much if you have to take it off and put it back on. And it doesn't need to be that tight because it has 4 anchor bolts. And there you have it, voila. Of course, you're gonna tighten your center bolt, but you've got this little excess cable. You come with your snips, clip off the excess, put a little shrink wrap on the ends. You want a little bit coming out, because just for adjustability when you're putting on and off. But yeah, at that point you've got your push-pull cable steering installed. Remember, you left some threads back here, so if things are a little too loose on the cables, you can back this back out, turn this a couple times, and you've got your